Greetings! This is the R8 Human Rhythm Composer from Roland, released back in 1989. And if you're watching this video, you probably own one, and chances are that you got it after reading that Autechre used to use one. So this video is the counterpart to my other video showing the track Crystal, taken from the hugely influential Warp compilation album Artificial Intelligence. If you haven't got it, do yourself a favour and get it. It's going to be more of a guide on how the R8 was used on that track, so if you just want to watch the finished thing, click the link on screen now. If not, stick around and I'll show you some of the ways the R8 was used to create that track. Full disclosure, Roland obviously didn't send me this review, but I hope that some of you find it interesting and are slightly inspired in some way. So the basic way you program an R8 is you start with one of these sample waveforms and assign it to a pad. You can then tweak the sound. Pitch is usually a good one to start with, and you can already hear a lot of those weird, glitchy sort of sounds going in. And you can change the decay on this particular sound, so again, different stuff going on. So we've got our sound, we've got our pad, and now we're going to program in a pattern. We'll do it in step mode. Each of the 16 pads corresponds to 1/16th of a bar. So we're going to make a 1 bar loop. And that's that. Now the nice thing with this drum machine, and what differentiates it from a lot of the others, is that you can program the tone changes like pitch with each note. I'm sure some of you recognise these sorts of sounds if you listen to things like the Warp tapes. So I've got a long list of numbers which I'm going to try and put in against each note. And all of these numbers are in relation to the original instrument, so later on I'll change the original instrument to a different pitch, and the pitch will change in relation to that starting pitch. Sounds kind of cool, but you can hear sort of like when you get down by the low tunings, it does sound really quite grungy. So that's where we're going to leave it. Now we're going to change the pitch of the original instrument, although I'm making a mistake here. There we go. I'm aiming for 15, goddammit. Okay. So there we go. That's the first bar of Crystal. And that whole pitch shifting tone thing is very reminiscent of another product, this one, where you can change the pitch and parameters of an instrument as it's playing. But we're not going to deal with that here. So here's our first pattern, and we're going to anchor it with something on the offbeat. So this is pattern 1. So what you typically do is then copy this to the next pattern along, so pattern 1 becomes pattern 2, and then record the next instrument. In this case, the big huge reverby snare. I'm not going to do that in this case, I'm just going to record it straight in. That snare's awesome. Now this one, we're going to change not the pitch, but actually the decay. So let's find the right one. Do the same on the next beat. One of the other parameters we can change is panning. so hopefully if you've got some headphones on, and that gives that really cool sort of weird separated spacey effect thing going on. So that's that. There's one other thing that we need to look at, and that's I've assigned the top 4 pads to my Nord, and they all play 4 different notes. And I'll put these in as a 4-bar loop later. So the next bit that's kind of tricky to explain is I've basically had to create a bunch of loops, which I've listed here on the screen. Those loops I can then combine with the 4-bar Nord loop to make new loops that are 4 bars in length. I can then sequence those together in song mode, and then you produce the whole track. So here's one example of a 4-bar loop. But all the patterns are constructed in the same way, so either 1-bar loops combined to make a 4-bar loop. But if you want to try this out on your own R8 and jam along, then the sysx file is linked in the description below. And yeah, do go and check out the full track. Thanks for watching.